Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and today we are going to talk about some of the news coming out of the world of football. Plus, it is the Prediction 2.0 show. That is right. Me and John talked about this when the Huddle Hub first started, that we are going to be doing 4 versions of predictions. 4. We were doing one before the draft. 2.0 is after the draft, which is today. 3.0 will be before preseason kicks off, and then our 4.0 will be happening before the regular season kicks off. Today, we're doing the 2.0 version. We're also going to talk about the news coming out of the world of football, and I got some statistics to talk about. Some power rankings. Now, there's different categories of power rankings that I've come across that I want to talk about and kind of get your guys' opinions. And also, I'm going to give mine. But before we get into everything, I want to ask everybody to please head over to all the social medias that the Huddle Hub is on X, YouTube, TikTok, at the Huddle Hub Pod, and make sure you're hitting the follow button right here on Twitch, twitch.tv/the Huddle Hub Podcast. Again, head over to the Huddle Hub Pod over on X, TikTok, and YouTube. And check out all the great content that's being put out. Check out past episodes of the Huddle Hub Podcast, full episodes, clips, and special recorded content that I have planned for you guys moving into the 2025 NFL season. We're also going to watch a special trailer today that came out this past week, which we could probably get into first because I was super excited about this. And for those of you who play video games like I do, specifically football games, well, we got the official trailer for College Football 26. So I'm going to bring up the YTs right now to share my screen with you guys. And we are going to check out the trailer, the official trailer of College Football 26. So here we go, guys. Let's start off the show by checking out the trailer together for College Football 26. I'm going to make this a full screen. And here we go.
There's something in the air. From Friday nights to Saturday lights. Chapel Hill to Pasadena. It crackles down our spines. Tradition, tension, roars that remind our rivals they're not in Kansas anymore. It's electric. It shocks our nerves and ignites a place where the ground shakes. But our pride doesn't. Where our coach, scheme, playbook, and character are unlike any other. There's something in the air. It builds us up, breaks them down, and gives the stadium a pulse built on pride.
How amazing is that? Wow. Insane. College Football 26 trailer and College Football 26 comes out July 10th, I believe it is. So a couple days before my birthday. So I'm super excited about that. All the details, most of the details are out right now. We still got more details coming about the game. But the cool thing is the Road to Glory mode. Back in 2012, 2013, you started your Road to Glory as a senior in high school, and then you signed with a college. You got offers from colleges and stuff like that. When we got College Football 25, it was you created a player, and then you picked what college you wanted to go to. And then it just determined on whether you were going to be a starter, a second stringer, a third stringer, or you were going to be basically considered a walk-on. You had to work your way up to being a starter. And believe me, during my gameplay of doing the Road to Glory, I've started at the bottom where I was a walk-on, and it took me until my last year to become a starter. And I'm currently working on one right now to where I became a starter right away. And I'm in year number 2. So the cool thing about this is they are taking you back to where you are going to start in high school, which is super exciting. That's a great feature, and I'm very excited that they're bringing that feature back. The one question is are we going to be able to convert draft classes from College Football 26 onto Madden 26? That was a big issue with last year's games, is you were not able to convert your draft classes over to Madden. So hopefully, this year we are able to do that to give us the full-on experience of both games with having rosters and the updates. Because I will tell you this right now, I in my one Road to Glory, my quarterback Road to Glory, my final year I was in Michigan. Actually my final 2 years I was in Michigan. I won the national championship in year 3, lost in the playoffs in year 4, got drafted. I converted my player over to superstar mode in Madden, got drafted to the Buccaneers, was on Tampa for 4 years, went to the conference title game 3 out of the 4 years, didn't win one. Then I left, went to Pittsburgh for a year, won my first Super Bowl. Then I went to Tennessee, won a Super Bowl there. Then I went to New Orleans for 2 years, won the Super Bowl there. Then I went to Miami for 4 years, won the Super Bowl all 4 years. Like, I'm at 8 Super Bowls right now in 12 seasons. The only years that I did not win a Super Bowl was in Tampa Bay. So hopefully some of the features that they kept out of the 25 series, they are going to bring into the 26 series. I'm sure we're going to get more as the month goes on, because we got a month and a half until College Football 26 comes out. So hopefully they add a couple more features that are going to be satisfactory to the point where you want to play these games. Because with football games, you can only go so far. It's not like you're playing The Last of Us or Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto or even free games like Fortnite where you earn things. You know, it's not like that. It's just football. That's all it is. So you want it to feel as realistic, and you want it to feel up to your standards with gameplay and with the rosters. Like I was saying, I'm in my 12th season as a superstar, as a quarterback, and there's probably 5 players that are active in real life today that are still active in the year I'm in. I'm in the year 2037. So there's only about 5 players that are active today. And that's Drake May, Brock Purdy, I know is still active. But they're pretty much quarterbacks. No position players are active anymore. Everybody is retired. So it's insane. So to get those roster updates and everything like that, it would be really cool to do. Convert your rosters over to Madden for the draft classes would be great. Hopefully it's a feature they add in. I'm excited that we're doing the whole, starting your Road to Glory in high school again. And we'll have to see what happens. College Football 26 coming out in July. Super excited about that. But let's get into what we're here to talk about, guys, and that is the news in the world of football. I do want to create something here real quick. because I forgot to do this before the show today, and we are good and got that. Okay, so let's get into some of the news. Number one, Mason Rudolph, quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, had said that he is not bothered by all the noise surrounding the Aaron Rodgers talk. Aaron Rodgers is rumored to go to Pittsburgh and become the quarterback for the Steelers. I mean, first the talk started before the draft, and people thought, hey, he's going to sign before the draft. It didn't happen. People thought that he was going to sign before OTAs. It didn't happen. Now OTAs, the first step of OTAs are pretty much coming to a close. We're getting ready to get into training camp. And training camp starts in July. Training camp no longer starts in August. It starts in July now. We're getting to that point. And I had said to somebody this past week, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to sign in July. I could see him signing in July, right in the middle of training camp, to get there to start learning the playbook and everything like that. I'm going to honestly say this is my full-on opinion. I think he's going to be announced in July. I think he's already signed with Pittsburgh, and we just don't know it. I think he's already a Steeler. We just don't know it yet. And he's, taking the time that he needs to take. And for them to not announce that he is signed yet takes away a lot of the scrutiny that he gets from the media. That's what I think it is. So do I think Aaron Rodgers is a Steeler? Yes. But it just wasn't announced yet. That's my opinion. I think he is. So, and I think in the middle of training camp in July, that's when we will get the announcement that Aaron Rodgers is officially the Pittsburgh Steeler. That's what I think. Because if you look at Pittsburgh, they haven't made any moves as far as getting a starting quarterback. And in my opinion, when you look at this team right now, could you really, if you're a Steelers fan, do you have 100% belief that Mason Rudolph can help you get to where you want to be in 2025? Because if I was a Steelers fan, I wouldn't. And I'm not saying Mason Rudolph I'm not sitting here saying Mason Rudolph is a bad quarterback, but he's not in. Could he be a starter? He could be. But I don't think I would be relying on him to be a starter for a team that is somewhat in build mode. Not rebuild mode, build mode. Meaning you lost some position players like Najee Harris. Yeah, you brought in DK Metcalf, but you got rid of George Pickens. And now there's talk about Pat Freiermuth and what his role is going to be in 2025. There's also talk that the Steelers may make a move on Kyle Pitts from the Falcons, which we'll talk about him in a minute. But bottom line is I think Aaron Rodgers is already a Steeler. We just don't know it yet, and it hasn't been announced. That's bottom line. That's my opinion. So we'll have to see come July. If he does get announced during training camp or not. The Broncos are going to be inducting 5-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Demaryius Thomas. As we know, we lost Demaryius Thomas back in 2021 due to health complications during the pandemic. He's going to be honored into the Broncos Ring of Fame this season. It has not been announced yet which game he's going to be inducted into the Ring of Fame for. But Demaryius Thomas will be inducted into the Broncos Ring of Fame here in the 2025 season. Joey Bosa, edge rusher from the Bills, he's going to be out until training camp. He has a calf injury that he's dealing with. It's nothing too severe, just a little bit of calf. When you play a full NFL season and you only have so much time to rest your body and get your body ready for the next one, and we all know right now football is basically all year round. The Super Bowl is just in February. We're in the beginning of June. Literally, today is June 1st. Okay? February, March, April, May. That's 3 months to get your body ready to get going for the 2025 season. So I'm sure this is nothing serious with Joey Bosa. He's probably just got to, work off some of the, soreness and stuff from the 2024 season. and I'm sure he'll be ready to go come training camp. But Joey Bosa will not be taking part in any more OTAs. He's done for OTAs, and he will be back for the Bills during training camp. The Colts have announced that they are going to wear a signature patch to honor the late great owner Jim Irsay. When I heard about this week, I was like, this is awesome. I'm excited to see what these patches look like. We talked about Jim Irsay in very much length last week. About 15 minutes of the show was spent on talking about Jim Irsay. And, this is really cool that they're doing this. We know that NFL teams do this all the time. If they lose a player, if a player passes away or a coach passes away or somebody in the front office that is very important to the team passes away, they wear some kind of sticker or some kind of patch on the jersey or on the helmet. Players, they normally wear like the sticker of the player's number sticker. So, like, for example, Demaryius Thomas, he was number 88. The Broncos wore the number 88 sticker on their helmet. Normally we see that. This year, the Colts are going to be wearing a patch in honor of Jim Irsay on their jersey. So I'm super excited to see what these patches look like. And I'm sure that's going to become a very hot item for collectors to get as well. And I really, not to go down that road. But if this patch looks cool, people that are fans of football and fans of Jim Irsay are going to want to get one of those patches. Whether you're a Colts fan or not, you're going to want one of those patches to collect. So whether you're a Colts fan or not, that's pretty honorable, to know that your owner made that much of an impact throughout the world of football. For somebody, for example, I'm an Eagles fan. If the patch looks cool, I'm like, I want to get this thing. Like, I want to add that to my collection. Why not? So the Colts should be very proud of that. Very, very proud of that. Kirk Cousins, quarterback of the Falcons. He has not been seen at team workouts during the OTAs, as well as Kyle Pitts. Both of them have been absent from the Falcons OTAs since they started about a month ago. A lot of talk about, again, Kyle Pitts. A lot of talk about the possibilities of him getting traded this past week. As of right now, the two teams that are in the front running of showing interest are the Cowboys and the Giants. The Giants, they went out and they drafted a tight end last year, which didn't really make a difference for them. But when you look at the Giants and how they were built last year, they could have brought in, a top key player and wouldn't have made a difference. That team was in rebuild mode, and they still kind of are after having a great draft this year. Kyle Pitts, could he make a difference for this team? Probably. And I can sit here and say that the same thing for the Cowboys. Could he go to Dallas and make a difference for Dallas? Probably. You look at Kyle Pitts' statistics the past season or two. Yeah, he was a top 5, top 10 tight end. But when you watch the season last year, it didn't seem that way because you didn't hear his name a lot. And he didn't rack up the fantasy points either for fantasy football players. So the Cowboys and Giants, the highest teams of interest right now. I know the Steelers are kind of in that mix, but the Cowboys and Giants have been the front runners of showing interest. Meanwhile, Kirk Cousins, he's kind of sitting in the wait. He said to the Falcons, trade me, get rid of me, cut me. It all depends on what they're going to do with him. They have Michael Penix Jr., which he's going to take the lead role as a quarterback for this team. That's it. Kirk Cousins' days in Atlanta are over before they even really got started. And now Michael Penix is there. He's taken over the team. Kirk Cousins still believes he could be a starter in this league. So he wants to go somewhere where he could be a starter. And that's where the sitting around and waiting for the Aaron Rodgers decision gets to be made in Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh right now, as everybody knows, is the team that really needs a quarterback. But when we get into the power rankings version of the show, there are other teams that kind of need to figure out the quarterback situation. And could Kirk Cousins play a part in that? Yes, he could. But that's if the team believes enough that he could be a starter for them. Kirk Cousins just has not had the best of luck when it came to injuries the past 2 seasons, as we know. So teams are probably thinking, like, do we want to take a chance on Kirk Cousins, bring him in? Because there could be a possibility he comes in. What if he gets injured? What do we do? And when you look at the teams that kind of need to fix their quarterback situation right now, the Browns, Steelers, Saints, and Colts are the 4 teams that come to mind. And the Saints right now, they their quarterback, Derek Carr, recently retires. The Colts, they have Anthony Richardson, but they don't 100% trust Anthony Richardson, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know if I'd say if it's crazy because of what he did last year during the game. I'm tired coming off the field on a game-winning drive. You don't do that. That's how you lose your job. And then that's how you become a journeyman. And that's how you don't get paid. So the Colts, I could see them being on the list. The Saints, Steelers, the team that's on this list as well as the Browns. The Browns are in that situation right now where they have 4 quarterbacks to decide on. Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and Kenny Pickett. And I'll say this, I think Kenny Pickett is going to get dealt before season starts. I do. I think Kenny Pickett is going to get traded. And if he doesn't get traded, he's going to get cut. I don't see Kenny Pickett being a Cleveland Brown for very long. I don't. So we'll definitely have to see what these teams do to decide to fix their quarterback situation. But as of right now, Kirk Cousins, he's sitting there saying like, hey, trade me, do what you got to do. But he doesn't want to be in Atlanta anymore. And do you blame him? I don't. Rookie quarterback came in and took your job. So the Falcons are moving forward in the future with Michael Penix Jr. James Cook, running back of the Bills, has not attended workouts either. So, surprise, surprise, no. Bills fans, it's not a surprise. He's seeking a new contract. Now, he probably knows that he's not going to get like Saquon Barkley or, Derrick Henry numbers as far as pay, but he's looking for a better contract. Now, could he hold out? He could. He can hold out for the season. And if I was a Bills fan, I'd worry about that because he's your RB1. And if you look at the Bills running back situation, I'm sure it's not that, promising. I'm going to look at the Bills depth chart right now as far as running backs. So the Bills at running back have James Cook, Ty Johnson, Darrynton Evans, and Ray Davis. Okay? Ray Davis, he is his 2024 regular season stats, 113 carries, 442 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3.9 yards per carry for Davis. Now, Davis is 25 years old. As it looks, he is a second-year player. So he's going into his second season with the Buffalo Bills. So, young kid yet, when you look at the other running backs for the Bills, you got Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson, 27 years old, 41 carries, 213 yards, a touchdown, 5.2 yards per carry. I'm trying to see how long Ty Johnson got drafted in 2019 to the Detroit Lions. So he's been in the league for quite a while. So could Ty Johnson take over the carries until they figure out what they're going to do with James Cook? And then Darrynton Evans, 26-year-old. He has 3 carries, 3 yards, no touchdowns, 1 yard per carry. Obviously, 3 carries, 3 yards. He was drafted in 2020 to the Tennessee Titans. So, it's not like they have a bad running back situation. Darrynton Evans, his career 24 carries, 24 games played, 65 carries, 249 yards, and 1 touchdown in his career. Darrynton Evans. Okay. Now, when you look at their second string running back in Ray Davis, we looked at his statistics. I'm going to talk about Ty Johnson. Yeah, that's who I wanted to talk about. When you look at his statistics, since 2019, 89 games played, 279 carries, 1,270 yards. He has as many yards since 2019 as a regular RB1 would have. So could Ty Johnson be potential for them? Yeah. Ray Davis? Yeah. But I think they're going to want to get this deal done with James Cook before the season starts. So if I was a Bills fan, I would definitely be hoping for that to get done. So Mason Graham, defensive tackle, the Browns, who got drafted in the 2025 NFL draft, he signed his rookie contract, 4 years, worth $40.8 million. That's about $10 million a year for Mason Graham. Very smart for the Browns. No, I mean, number one, he's drafted. He's going to be in Cleveland for 4 years, obviously. It was very smart for the fact of the Browns to give him this type of money, kind of show, hey, we got commitment in you. Because when you look at a lot of these other rookie contracts that rookies are getting, it's like, oh, we're going to sign you 4 years, $17 million. That's about $4 million, $3 million a year, give or take. So the Browns are committed to Mason Graham, giving him at least $10 million a year. That shows the commitment. Josh Conerly Jr., offensive lineman for the Commanders, he also signed his rookie deal. There's no statistic on what the deal is worth yet. Will Campbell, offensive tackle the Patriots, he signed his rookie deal as well. So a couple rookie deals getting done this week by teams. A couple of them we don't know the full specifications of, but, the Browns, they gave us Mason Graham's. Bryce Huff of the Eagles, the edge rusher from the Eagles, he is being traded to San Francisco. The deal is yet to be done, but as soon as the specifications of the deal come out, and we know the full details of the trade, then we will talk about it here on the show. Hopefully we'll get the full specifications of the deal by next Sunday, and if we do, we will talk about it right here on the Huddle Hub podcast. So yeah, Bryce Huff is going to be heading out west to play in San Francisco. San Francisco picking up yet another defensive player. So San Francisco is basically using the formula that Philadelphia used a year ago and said, hey, we're going to stock up on defensive players, and then we're going to kind of work out the kinks on who is going to be starting and who's going to be backups and all that stuff. Bryce Huff was drafted in 2020 to the New York Jets. He played 66 games in his career, 78 total tackles, 45 solo, 33 assisted. He has 20 sacks on his career. His highest sack season was in 2023 when he had 10 sacks, and that's when he played all 17 games. That's the only year he played all 17 games. And he had one stuffed yards. 1.5 stuffed yards. So, yeah. Bryce Huff heading out west to San Francisco to play for the 49ers. Again, we'll get the specifications on that deal as soon as the deal is done and we know what they are. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the GM for the Vikings, he signed his contract extension. So he's going to be the GM out in Minnesota for, I believe, the next 2 seasons. I believe the extension was either 2 seasons or 3 seasons, but he was extended. We kind of sit here and wonder, like, okay, why do teams go out and give these contract extensions to GMs and, assistant GMs and stuff like that? And then sometimes a season later, we see the coaches get fired after signing extensions, or GMs get fired after signing extensions. Why we see that? Well, it's because the owners are basically saying, like, I have trust in you enough to give you an extension and give you more money. At the same time, what you're doing has to deliver. Has to deliver. And if it doesn't, I mean, again, we are in pretty much the day and age, and we talk about this all the time on the show here, that we are in the day and age where players and coaches and staff, they end up getting contract extensions, but they can get fired or traded or released at any time. So yeah, this extension is good, but Adolfo can be gone just like that at the snap of a finger. If ownership is not happy with what he's doing with this football team, can literally say, hey, you're out the door. So, I mean, hey, hats off to the Vikings for extending their GM. Hopefully he can, build this team to where they need to be. We're going to get into the predictions in a little bit. And I will say this right now, Vikings fans. John sent me his predictions, and it's not good in John's perspective. And I will tell you this right now, it's not good in my perspective either when it comes to the Vikings. But again, this is only our 2.0 predictions. We have 2 more to do. And the final one, which is going to be the set in stone one, is going to be the one after training camp before the NFL season kicks off in September. So we got 2 more of these to do after today. Now, the last time we did this, so we broke it down by divisions each week. Today, I'm just going to do the whole thing. Just give you the record, give you the division record, give you the playoff teams, how the playoffs we think are going to run, and ultimately who's going to win the Super Bowl. So that's how we're doing this today. Stefon Diggs was in the news this past week. Now, I'm sure you guys heard the news that he was caught on camera on a boat with some pink powdery substance. Don't know what the substance is, but the Patriots organization and head coach not happy about it. Not happy about it to the point where there's a possibility that they can move Stefon Diggs, whether it's a trade or whether it's cutting him. So Stefon Diggs, he pretty much has only been in New England for 5 minutes, and he's already not making people happy. Already. And you're supposed to be a veteran player to come in and, and we heard Joe Flacco talk about this past week in an interview. He said, I'm not here to be a mentor. I'm here to win a job. Older players don't necessarily have to go in and be automatically mentors. They don't. And I agree with Joe Flacco. I agree with what he said. He doesn't necessarily have to go in and be a mentor. He's going to go in, and it's going to be up to the young guys on whether they watch him or not and pick up on the things that he does. That's how you can learn. Now, it is under the discretion of whether that veteran player wants to be a mentor, but they don't have to be. And ownership and coaches cannot make veteran players be mentors. It's all under the decision of the veteran player. So I agree with Joe Flacco. And Stefon Diggs, you're supposed to go into New England and be a role model, not a mentor, a role model to these younger players. And to go and do this, get caught on camera. You need to remember, you're a superstar. There's cameras everywhere, bud. There's cameras everywhere. Be mindful of what you're doing. You can have a good time. You're a human being. Have a good time. You should be allowed to have a good time. But at the same time, think about what you're doing. Be mindful. Be safe. That's all. And that advice can be used on, normal everyday life people like myself. I have a 40 hour a week full-time job. I got to be mindful of what I do. Why? Because I'm a human being, just like Stefon Diggs is. So be mindful. but the Patriots aren't happy. And Stephon Diggs could be out the door. Simple as that. So we'll have to keep an eye out and see what happens with Stephon Diggs and see if New England sticks with him or not. As of right now, it doesn't sound like they're going to be. So, but that's all I got for the news, guys. Not a lot of news. Some news. Had a nice little spurt of news there. But this show today is mainly just surrounded by our Prediction 2.0. I threw in the power ranking segment that we're going to do in about 30 seconds here. But first, we're going to take a 30-second break. I want you guys to check out our social media links. Go over, hit that follow button on the YouTube. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button, please, right now as we take this 30-second break. We will be back right here on the Huddle Up Podcast. So make sure you guys are heading over to X, TikTok, and YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. Make sure you're hitting the follow button on X and TikTok. And over on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. You can check out all the great content being put out here on the Huddle Hub Podcast. Full episodes of past shows of the Huddle Hub Podcast over on the YouTube. We also going to have clips, and I have special recorded content that I have that I'm planning for you guys that I'm going to be posting throughout the summertime here. So stay tuned. Head over to the Huddle Hub Pod over on TikTok, X, and YouTube, and hit that follow and subscribe button. Would definitely be appreciated as we build things here going into the 2025 season here on the Huddle Hub Podcast. So let's get into the power ranking subject of the day, the power rankings segment. Now, this is by other sources. This isn't my power rankings. This is by other sources, and I figure we'll talk about them because they were pretty interesting subjects to talk about. The first one that I want to talk about is the 2024 non-playoff team power rankings. Now, there was 18 teams that did not make the 2024 playoffs, and the power rankings were put out. We're going to go from 18 to 1. At number 18 is the Saints, who went 5-12 in the 2024 season. We know the Saints, they're in complete rebuild mode right now. The Saints, could they end up making the playoffs? Who knows? There is a power ranking of saying what teams may make a turnaround and make the playoffs, the teams that are under a microscope and must make the playoffs. So could the Saints be on that list? Who knows? We'll find out in a few moments here. At number 17 are the Giants, who went 3-14. As well as the Browns, who are at number 16, who went 3-14. The Titans are at number 15 at 3-14 of last year. The number 14 team on the list is the Jets, who went 5-12. At 13 is the Raiders, who went 4-13. The Jaguars are at number 12, who went 4-13. The Panthers at number 11, who went 5-12. The Colts are at number 10, who went 8-9. The Cowboys are number 9 on this list, who went 7-10. The Falcons are number 8 on this list, who went 8-9. The Seahawks are at number 7. They went 10-7. They just missed the playoffs last year. They needed, I believe it was they needed the Packers to lose, and they needed to win, and they needed two other teams to lose in order to make the playoffs, and it just didn't happen. But the Falcons are number 8 on this list, or the Seahawks are number 7 on this list at 10-7 from last year. The Dolphins are number 6 on this list. They went 8-9. The Bears are number 5, who went 5-12. The number 4 team is the Patriots, who went 4-13. The 49ers are number 3 on this list, who went 6-11 last year. The Cardinals are number 2 on this list, who went 8-9. And the number 1 team on this power rankings, who are the non-playoff team in 2024, are the Bengals, who went 9-8. So, again, Number 1, the Bengals. 2, the Cardinals. 49ers, Patriots, Bears, Dolphins, Seahawks, Falcons, Cowboys, Colts, Panthers, Jaguars, Raiders, Jets, Titans, Browns, Giants, Saints. That's from 1 to 18. So there is a top 6 teams who could dethrone the Eagles in 2025, and here are the teams from 6 to 1. At number 6, the Commanders, who are in the same division as the Eagles. Now, a lot of people think the Commanders are going to win the NFC East this year. They think that they're going to do better than they did last year. Me personally, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an Eagles fan, but I think the Commanders are going to take a step back. You got to look at the Commanders. They had a lot of guys on one-year deals, a lot of guys that they had to go back and re-sign, or they had to pick up some players. You know, the Commanders are kind of a, you know, I don't want to say a revolving door when it comes to players because they did re-sign some guys like a Zach Ertz, but they do not have the same team they had last year. So the Commanders, I think they'll take a little bit of a step back, maybe one more loss than they did last year, 11-6 as opposed to 12-5. Do I think they're going to win the NFC East? No, I think the Eagles are the NFC East champions again this year. I do, and I'm not just saying that because I'm an Eagles fan. And you're going to find out why I say that, because there is a power ranking that can prove that. At number 5, the Rams. At number 4, the Lions. At number 3, the Ravens. Number 2, the Bills. And number 1 is the Chiefs. Those are the top 6 teams who they think could dethrone the Eagles in 2025. Now, there are some situational things that you know, they're looking at, that, you know, a lot of your let's just say the media. Okay, that's what we're going to say. There's a couple situations that some people in the media are looking at when it comes to teams with some power ranking stuff. This is teams that need to reduce drama. Okay? The Jets, Dolphins, Cowboys, and Raiders are the 4 teams that need to reduce the drama in their clubhouses. And could that be a true thing? Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys, do they have drama? Who knows? The Dolphins, they do right now because of the Jalen Ramsey situation. The Raiders, they're always having some quarterback drama. And the Jets, well, you know, if you know the story about what the owner did last year and basing things off of Madden ratings when it came to signing players, that's a little bit dramatic. So the Jets are on this list. Now, when it comes to teams that need to solve quarterback issue, again, the Browns, Steelers, Saints, Colts. My opinion, I think Aaron Rodgers is a Steeler. We're just not going to hear it until July. The Browns, they have 4 quarterbacks that they need to decide who's going to be the day one guy. Kenny Pickett, I think, is going to be gone by the end of preseason. The Saints, Derek Carr retiring. You know, now it's kind of thrown on the shoulder of the rookie quarterback that they signed, that they drafted, unless they go out and get a veteran like a Kirk Cousins. But could Kirk Cousins fix the problem in New Orleans? Who knows? And then the Colts with Anthony Richardson. You know, me and John have talked about it in length about Anthony Richardson, that we feel like he's on the hot seat in 2025. So who knows? One team that must show improvement. Now, there's many teams that need to show improvement, but the one team that is being highlighted that is a high must of showing improvement in 2025 is the New York Giants. And you could sit there and say the Browns and the Saints and the Raiders and the Patriots. But the Giants, I mean, they went out and had a really good draft. So they are going to be under a microscope this season. And I'm talking about probably the biggest microscope there is for a team. And that leaves me with, well, let's go with the teams that must make the playoffs first. The Bengals, Cowboys, and Dolphins. They're the 3 teams that are being rated as they must make the playoffs teams. Now, do I think the Bengals can bounce back and make the playoffs? Yes. Do I think the Dolphins could possibly bounce back and make the playoffs a wild card? Yes. The Bills, the AFC East belongs to the Bills right now. And maybe for the next 4 or 5 seasons. But the Dolphins, could they become a wild card team? Maybe a 5th seed, 6th seed, 7th seed? Yes. Yeah, Dolphins can. They just need to figure out this Jalen Ramsey situation. Because, again, there's drama there. Is Jalen going to come back to Miami? Is he going to go somewhere else? Is he going to retire? Who knows? Who knows? But they need to figure that out. And then the Cowboys, do I think they're going to make the playoffs? No. No. I honestly think they finish 7-10 again. And that's not me giving you guys a spoiler on the predictions thing. That's just me saying I think they're going to finish 7-10 again. They're going to repeat what they did in 2024. And then finally, teams that are under the microscope of a must-win Super Bowl situation: the Chargers, Vikings, Lions, and Bills. Now, 3 of these teams are believable right now that could win the Super Bowl. One of them, I don't think so. Bills, Lions, and Chargers are the 3 teams that I think are believable to win the Super Bowl. The Vikings are not. And that's just that. And then finally, there is a top 10 ranking of complete rosters. These are the top 10 teams who are considered to have complete rosters. At number 10, the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos are a complete roster, but they're close to it. The 49ers, same thing. I think they're close to a complete roster, but I don't think they're fully complete. At number 8, the Packers, believable. Number 7, the Buccaneers, believable. At number 6, the Vikings. No, I don't think so. At number 5, the Bills. Yes. Chiefs at number 4. No. No. At number 3, the Lions. No. They're close. Real close. Because like I've been saying, I think they are 1 to 2 players away. I feel like they're missing a piece of the puzzle to get over the hump, and it has to do with a certain position. And the Lions, I think, are still missing that piece of the puzzle. So are they complete? 98%. At number 2, the Ravens. Yes. At number 1, the Eagles. Yes. Those are the top 10 teams who are considered to have complete rosters. Again, I agree with the Eagles. I agree with the Ravens. 98% for the Lions, because again, I think they're missing at least 1 or 2 key players to complete that roster. The Chiefs, no. Bills, yes. Vikings, no. Bucks, Packers, yes. 49ers, Broncos, no. And those are my opinions as far as when it comes to complete roster. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you want to count the Lions, because at 98%, then that's 6. 6 out of 10 teams have complete rosters. But those are the power rankings that I wanted to talk about, that I came across for today. So, yeah. But we're going to get into the predictions 2.0, guys. Before we get into prediction 2.0, I'm going to take a 30-second break, guys. Make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Up Podcast social medias. Here's the So make sure you guys are heading over to all the Huddle Hub Podcast social medias on X and TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod, and on YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button over on the YouTube. and the follow button over on X and TikTok. It would be greatly appreciated as we build the Huddle Hub podcast channel here heading into the 2025 college football and NFL season. Again, at the Huddle Hub Pod over on TikTok, X, and YouTube. Hit and subscribe on the YouTube and the follow button on X and TikTok. It'd definitely be appreciated as we build the channel here for the Huddle Hub podcast going into the 2025 college football and NFL seasons. Guys, we're going to get into the not the power rankings. We just did the power rankings. What am I saying? We're getting into the predictions 2.0. Now, again, we did our predictions 1.0 back before the NFL draft. We're doing the 2.0 today. Now we'll do 3.0 before preseason starts, and then we'll do the 4.0 before the regular season starts. Okay, so these are not set in stone. The 4.0 ones are the ones that's set in stone, our final predictions. This is just after the draft, how we see the teams as they sit right now, and what we think they're going to do. Now, real quick, I'm going to run down John. Since John's ain't here, since John is not here, I'm going to run down his. This is how he has the teams finishing for the NFC East. The Cowboys 10-7, the Eagles 9-8, Commanders 9-8, Giants 7-10. In the NFC North, the Lions 13-4, Packers 10-7, Bears 6-11, and the Vikings 5-12. For the NFC South, the Buccaneers 11-6, the Falcons 10-7, Panthers 5-12, Saints 3-14. And then in the NFC West, the 49ers and Rams both finishing at 14-3, the Seahawks 7-10, Cardinals at 4-13. In the AFC, in the East, he has the Bills at 14-3, Dolphins 11-6, Jets 9-8, Patriots 2-15. In the AFC North, he has the Ravens at 15-2, Bengals 14-3, Steelers at 4-13, and the Browns at 3-14. In the AFC South, he has the Jaguars at 10-7, Texans at 9-8, Colts at 4-13, and the Titans going 3-14. And then for the AFC West, he has the Chiefs at 12-5, Broncos 11-6, Chargers 10-7, and the Raiders at 4-13. Now, how John has his playoffs set up. The 49ers and Ravens have the first round buys. Okay, so in the wild card round, he has the Falcons heading out to Detroit to take on the Lions, Packers heading out to the Tampa to take on the Buccaneers, and the Rams to head out to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. I'm going to just run through the NFC playoff side real quick. He has the Rams moving on, the Buccaneers moving on, and the Lions moving on. So the Rams will play the 49ers, and the Bucs would play the Lions. He has the Rams and Lions winning their respective games, going to the NFC Conference title game, and the Lions becoming victorious, winning the NFC Championship. Now, on the AFC side of things, he has the Ravens as the first round bye. He has the Dolphins taking on the Bills, the Broncos heading out to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs, and the Bengals heading out to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. The Bengals, Ravens, and the Bengals, Chiefs, and Bills win their respective wildcard games. He has the Ravens defeating the Bengals and the Bills defeating the Chiefs. So he would have Buffalo heading out to Baltimore to take on the Ravens in the AFC title game, where ultimately the Bills win, setting up the Lions and Bills in Super Bowl 60, and he has the Bills winning Super Bowl 60. That is how John has his predictions for 2.0. So now we are going to run down mine. Okay? So starting off with the NFC East. Okay? I have the Eagles going 14-3 with a 5-1 division record. Their losses are to the Commanders once, the Buccaneers, and the Chargers. Okay. The Commanders I have going 10-7 with a 4-2 division record, losing to the Eagles, Cowboys, Packers, Lions, Chiefs, Chargers, and Dolphins. Okay. I have the Cowboys going 7-10 with a 2-4 division record, losing to the Eagles twice, the Commanders once, the Giants once, the Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, Lions, Packers, and Panthers. And then finally, the Giants I have going 4-13. They're going to go 1-5 in the division. They're going to lose to the Eagles and Commanders twice, the Cowboys once, and then they'll lose to the Bears, Packers, Lions, Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, 49ers, and Patriots. That is how I have the NFC East. For the NFC West, I have the 49ers going 13-4 with a 4-2 division record. They're going to lose to the Cardinals once, the Rams once, and then they'll lose to the Buccaneers and Texans. The Rams, I have them going 11-6, also with a 4-2 division record, losing to the 49ers and Cardinals once, and then the Buccaneers, Texans, Eagles, Ravens. I have the Cardinals going 9-8 with a 4-2 division record, losing to the 49ers and Rams once. Then they'll lose to the Buccaneers, Falcons, Texans, Cowboys, Packers, and Bengals. And then for the Seahawks, I have them going 4-13 with an 0-6 division record. They will lose to the 49ers, Cardinals, and Rams twice. They will also lose to the Bucks, Panthers, Falcons, Texans, Colts, Commanders, and Steelers. Okay? For the NFC North, I'm going to switch something here real quick. There we go. For the NFC North, I have the Packers going 13-4 with a 5-1 division record. I have them losing to the Lions once, the Eagles, Ravens, and Bengals. For the Lions, I have them going 10-7 with a 4-2 division record. They're going to lose to the Packers and Bears once. Then they'll lose to the Chiefs, Eagles, Ravens, Bengals, and Bucks. The Bears, I have them going 7-10. Picking up 2 more wins than last year, 7-10 with a 2-4 division record, losing to the Packers twice, the Lions and Vikings once, and then they'll lose to the Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, Bengals, Ravens, and 49ers. And finally, with the Vikings, I have them going 3-14 with a 1-5 division record, losing to the Packers and Lions twice, the Bears once, and then the Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, Seahawks, Falcons, Chargers, Ravens, and Bengals. Okay. And then finally in the NFC South, I have the Buccaneers going 15-2 with a 5-1 division record. They're going to lose to the Panthers once and then the Bills. With the Panthers, I have them going 10-7 with a 4-2 division record, losing to the Buccaneers and Falcons once. Then they'll lose to the 49ers, Rams, Cardinals, Packers, and Bills. With the Falcons, I have them going 7-10 with a 2-4 division record, losing to the Buccaneers twice, the Panthers once, and the Saints once. I also have them losing to the 49ers, Rams, Bills, Jets, Colts, and Commanders. And then for the Saints, I have the Saints going 1-16 with a 1-5 division record. They're going to lose to the Buccaneers and Panthers twice. They're going to split with the Falcons, win one, and lose one to the Falcons. And then the rest of their schedule, Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, 49ers, Seahawks, Cardinals, Rams, Bears, Giants, Titans. That's who they're going to lose to. So 1 win for the Saints, and that will be against the Falcons. That's it. All right. So let's head over to the AFC side of things. Okay. First off, with the AFC East, I have the Bills going 12-5 with a 4-2 division record. They're going to lose to the Dolphins and Jets once, and then they'll lose to the Eagles, Ravens, and Texans. Wait, hold on. Yeah, they'll lose to the Eagles, Ravens, and Texans. I had to make sure I had that right. So I have them 12-5, 4-2 division record, losing to the Dolphins and Jets once, and then the Eagles, Ravens, and Texans. I have the Dolphins going 8-9 with a 3-3 division record. I have them losing to the Bills, Patriots, and Jets once. Okay, so splitting each of their division games. And then they'll also lose to the Bengals, Ravens, Bucks, Panthers, Falcons, and Chargers. The Jets, I also have them going 8-9 with a 3-3 division record. Same thing as the Dolphins, but splitting Bills, Patriots, Dolphins 1-1. And then I have them losing to the Cowboys, Bengals, Ravens, Bucks, Panthers, Broncos. And finally, the Patriots, I have them going 7-10 with a 2-4 division record, losing to the Bills twice, and then the Dolphins and Jets once. And then they'll also lose to the Bengals, Ravens, Falcons, Panthers, Bucks, and Raiders. So that's it for the AFC East. For the AFC West, I have the Chiefs going 9-8 with a 2-4 division record, losing to the Chargers twice, the Broncos once, the Raiders once, and then the Eagles, Texans, Bills, and Ravens. I have the Raiders going 7-10 with a 2-4 division record, losing to the Chargers twice, Chiefs once, Broncos once, and then the Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, Texans, Jaguars. I have the Broncos going 11-6 with a 3-3 division record, splitting with the Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders. And then they'll also lose to the Texans, Bengals, and Packers. And they're going to go 11-6. Okay. And then finally, the Chargers. I have them going 16-1 with a 5-1 division record, only losing to the Broncos. That's it for the AFC West. Now, for the AFC North, I have the Bengals going 15-2 with a 5-1 division record, losing to the Ravens once and then losing to the Bills. I have the Ravens going 14-3 with a 4-2 division record, losing to the Steelers and Bengals once and then the Texans. I have the Steelers going 4-13 with a 2-4 division record, losing to the Bengals twice and then splitting with the Ravens and the Browns. They'll also lose to the Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, Packers, Lions, Vikings, Bears, and Chargers. And then the Browns, I have them going 2-15, going 1-5 in their division, losing to the Bengals and the Ravens twice and splitting with the Steelers. They're also going to lose to the Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, Packers, Bears, Lions, Vikings, 49ers, and Raiders. And then finally, the AFC South. Okay. I have the Texans going 15-2 with a 6-0 division record. They're only going to lose to the Chargers and the Buccaneers. The Jaguars, I have going 4-13 with a 3-3 division record, losing twice to the Texans and then once to the Titans and the Jaguars. They're also going to lose to the 49ers, Cardinals, Seahawks, Rams, Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Bengals, Jets, and Panthers. I have the Titans going 3-14 with a 2-4 division record, losing to the Texans twice, the Jaguars and Colts once, and then they'll lose to the 49ers, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos, and then the Browns and the Patriots. I also have the Colts going 3-14 with a 1-5 division record, losing to the Texans and Jaguars twice, splitting with the Titans. And then they're going to lose to the 49ers, Cardinals, Rams, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos, Steelers, and Dolphins. Okay? So that's all that I have as far as what teams are going to lose to who and their records. Now, as far as the playoffs, okay, I have the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, who are going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs at 15-2. I have the Chargers, who are going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC side at 16-1. I have the Eagles as the 2 seed. I have the Packers as the 3 seed, the 49ers as the 4 seed, all winning their respective divisions. Then I have the Rams at number 5, Lions at 6, Commanders at 7. Okay? Now, I know I had a team that it was the Panthers who are just going to miss the playoffs. That's the team who is just going to miss the playoffs because the Lions and Commanders end up playing each other. The Panthers don't. So, Panthers don't make the playoffs. But they go 10-7. On the AFC side of things, I have the Texans at the 2nd seed, the Bengals as the 3rd seed, the Bills as the 4th seed, all winning their respective divisions, and then the Ravens at 5, Broncos at 6, and Chiefs at 7. Now, the Ravens, I have them going 14-3. Okay? Now, this is what the Lions were trying to talk about when they put out their proposal for the playoff seeding change. Realistically, if the seeding rule would change, then the Ravens realistically would be the 4 seed. And then the Bills would be the 5 seed. But because that rule doesn't apply, they didn't go through with it. The Ravens would be 14-3 as the 5 seed, and they'd be on the road against the 12-5 Bills. Okay? So in the wild card playoffs, first on the AFC side of things, I would have the Chiefs heading to Houston to take on the Texans, the Broncos heading out to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, and the Ravens heading out to Buffalo to take on the Bills. I would have the Bills beating the Ravens. I would have the Bengals beating the Broncos, and the Texans would eliminate the Chiefs in the first round. Yes, the Chiefs would be eliminated in round 1. The Bills would head out to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers because the Chargers are the number 1 seed. Bills would be the lowest seed remaining. And in a shocker, the Bills go out and upset the number 1 seeded Chargers, who went 16-1 and only lost to the Broncos. I'd have the Bills upsetting the Chargers and the Bills heading into the AFC title game. I would have the Texans beating the Bengals, who would have to go on the road to Houston. And the Texans getting into that next step, which would be the AFC title game, because they haven't gotten that far. Okay? They'll make that next step. But that's where the road ends for them. I have the Bills winning the AFC championship. Okay? Now, when it comes to the NFC side of things, okay? Give me a second here. I just want to do something here really quick. Okay, so let's get to the NFC side of things. I would have the Commanders, who are the 7th seed, heading out to Philadelphia to take on the 2-seeded Eagles. The Lions, who are the 6th seed, heading out to take on the 3-seeded Packers. And the Rams, who are the 5 seed, taking on the 4th seeded 49ers. One more time, Commanders at Eagles, Lions at Packers, Rams at 49ers. My NFC playoff for my prediction 2.0 is all division matchups. And I didn't do this on purpose either. Did not do this on purpose. It happened like that. So, yeah. But I have the 49ers defeating the Rams. I have the Packers defeating the Lions. And I have the Eagles defeating the Commanders to head into the divisional round. Now, when it comes to the divisional matchups, I have the 49ers heading out to Tampa Bay to take on the 1-seeded Buccaneers, because the 49ers would be the lowest seed remaining. And then the Packers would head out to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Okay, I have the Eagles and the Buccaneers, who are both the home teams, winning at home, thus giving us the Eagles and the Buccaneers in the NFC Championship. Okay, and just like in the regular season, where the Eagles lose to the Buccaneers, the Eagles don't have much luck out in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay would end up winning the NFC Championship, thus setting up Super Bowl 60, the Bills and the Buccaneers, where the Bills finally win a Super Bowl. So me and John both have the Bills winning the Super Bowl in our 2.0 predictions. So there it is. It took me all week to get this work together, to put all of this together. Going down the list, win losses, matching things up, making sure I have everything right, only for me to do a 20-minute prediction segment. The work that gets put in here on the Huddle Hub podcast. I love doing it, though. I'm not complaining because I love being here. So, but that's it for our predictions. Prediction 2.0. If you missed the Prediction 2.0 segment here, you can check out the replay over on the Huddle Hub Podcast YouTube channel at the Huddle Hub Pod, and also on TikTok and on X. Okay. But that's all I got for you guys today. We started a little early today. Normally we start at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today we started at 9. I figured, hey, I'm awake. Why sit around for 4 hours waiting? I was up since yesterday. So why sit around waiting? We could start a little earlier today and, start the show early and have some fun early. All right. But that's all I got for you guys. So appreciate everybody for checking out the live. If you're not checking out the live, make sure you're checking out the replay. Appreciate everybody who checks out the show here, whether you're checking it out live or checking it out on the replay. Again, make sure you're heading over to TikTok, X, and YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. On X and TikTok, hit that follow button. On YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you're hitting the follow button right here on Twitch as well, so you can keep your eye out for all future shows here on Twitch. Would definitely appreciate it. And if you want to check me out personally on social media, Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch at MetalMike714 is where you can catch me. And go ahead and hit that follow button. Would definitely appreciate that. With that being said, guys, appreciate everybody checking out the show again. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Take care of each other. Be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Until next time, guys, have a great Sunday. Deuces.